Harlan crashes to the floor and they're on him in an instant. He thought he'd shaken them and slipped away unnoticed, but they were lying in wait just around the corner. One kid loops an arm around his neck, not choking but holding him firm. Harlan thrashes, trying to fight back, but many hands grab at his limbs, eventually pinning him to the cold ground. An entire gang of boys stand over him. "Harlan, Harlan, Harlan," Ben says, approaching through the group to stand over him like some kind of gang boss. Ben cracks his knuckles as he stares down. "How many times have I told you to stay away from my girlfriend?" She's my lab partner," Harlan coughs out, trying to reason with them. Ben gazes around at his boys and begins to laugh cynically. "Does that mean you have to talk to her?" The boys all laugh and throw insults. "Yeah, it does," Harlan sputters in his defense. "How else am I gonna pass chemistry if I don't talk to her?" The laughing stops, and Ben glares down unimpressed. "Are you suggesting I'm stupid, Harley boy?" Ben's face turns serious. Let's teach him a lesson. A flurry of kicks and punches means he takes blow after blow from Ben and his gang. Fists land hard. Boots thud against his ribs. He tries to shield himself, but they're relentless. Once they've had their fill, the gang backs off, and Ben spits near Harlan's head. They leave him there, bruised, broken, and sobbing in the dirt. Their laughter echoes down the alley, taunting him as they walk away. Harlan waits for them to be out of sight before getting to his feet. His nose bloody, his lips busted open, his ribs, legs, and arms very bruised. Brushing himself down, he grabs his rucksack and trudges home. Only one thought is in his mind as he walks home, nursing his sore body. How am I going to explain this? Entering his house, Harlan quietly takes off his shoes, hoping no one will notice he's home. However, with a house full to the brim of 3 generations of his family, he had no hope of slipping in unnoticed. Harlan, his older brother Aaron, appears in the hallway holding a glass of water. Aaron points and frowns. "Again?" he asks with a long sigh. "The same guy?" Harlan shoves his hands into his pocket and looks away. Yeah, he mumbles at the floor. Hearing the voices, Harlan's younger sister bursts into the hallway. She gawks in his direction.
"Wow, they really did a number on you."
"Yeah, thanks, Suma," Harlan scoffs, and then he touches his bloody nose. "I hadn't noticed." Suma sighs before staring at Aaron.
"Aren't you gonna help him? Isn't that what older brothers do?"
Aaron drinks his water slowly, unimpressed. As he wipes his mouth with his sleeve, he shakes his head. "No," he answers coldly. "I could help him, but I can't always be there to protect him." Aaron then looks at his younger brother with an awkward smile. "Sorry, Harley. You gotta stand up to this guy on your own, or he'll never leave you alone." Harlan kicks at the floor. "I know," he begrudgingly agrees. Suma blows a raspberry.
"Aaron, that's not fair. If I was being harassed by a boy, you'd be all over that. So help Harlan out."
Aaron chuckles as she walks over to give Suma a pat on the head. "That's because," he smiles down at her, "you're our dorky little sister, and you're not allowed any boys close to you until you turn 25.
25?
Suma screeches. She throws punches at her brother, but he holds her back, with one arm stretched out, holding her back by her forehead.
"You suck, Aaron."
"And that's just a nasty rumor, little one." Aaron chuckles at his younger sister, who's still throwing haymakers into thin air. Patting his sore body, Harlan watches his sister and brother play fight. It's a perfect opportunity to slip away into his bedroom before his mother notices he's had another fight. As he takes a single step onto the stairs, a soft hand grabs his arm. "Ouch!" Harlan frowns as the hand squeezes on one of his bruises. Expecting it to be his brother, he glares in the direction of the person holding him, only to find it's his grandma Doris, smiling up to him. "Oh, Granny." He awkwardly chuckles, stopping dead on the first step.
"Another fight?"
she asks, looking at her grandson up and down.
"Did you at least fight back this time?"
Harlan's head drops.
"Oh well."
Doris touches at his face with her fingers, roughly prodding at what could be a broken nose. "Ow!" Harlan bats her hand away. "Granny, why?" Doris only smiles.
"I think you should come with me."
Harlan shakes his head. No thanks, Granny. He looks up at the stairs. I want to go to bed. Suma and Aaron have stopped fighting, and all three of them are staring in Harlan's direction, making him extremely uncomfortable.
Granny might have some fighting tips for you, Harley,
Suma teases with a mischievous giggle. In a flash, quicker than anyone expects, Doris reaches over and gives her granddaughter a gentle bonk on the head, more amused than annoyed.
Granny!
Suma protests, rubbing her scalp.
Ow! Watch that cheek, young lady,
Doris says lightly.
This old gal's got a few tricks up her sleeves.
So, Aaron takes a sip of his drink. Are you going to teach Harlan how to fight, Granny? Aaron then smirks at his little brother. I mean, I tried. He's pretty girly for a guy. Frustrated, Harlan yanks his arm back, trying to break free from his grandma's grip and storm upstairs. But she doesn't let go. Aaron and Suma are grinning like a pair of goofballs, clearly enjoying the show. But Doris isn't laughing. She is smiling, but her smile is calm, like she actually wants to help.
Come on, Harley,
she says gently, tugging him away from the stairs.
Let's have a little chat in the sunroom.
Fine. Harlan rolls his eyes and steps down from the stairs. Okay. Doris leads Harlan through the house. Suma and Aaron trail after them, curiosity written all over their faces. But Doris shoos them off with a firm glance. She eases into her favorite chair in the sunroom, settling in as the sunlight spills across the floor. Her gaze drifts towards the garden as she makes herself comfortable. Harlan, however, doesn't seem to know whether to sit or stand. So he just stands, waiting for his grandma to talk. Doris points at a large piece of furniture in the room, a dresser filled with all sorts of junk made from very heavy wood.
Harlan, pick that up.
He looks over at it. I can't pick that up. Peering in his direction, Doris smiles.
How do you know if you don't try?
Harlan walks over to the dresser, eyeing it like it might bite. He squats, gets his hands underneath, and heaves with all of his strength, but it doesn't move. Doris's laughter fills the sunroom.
Oh dear,
she chuckles, wiping a tear from the corner of her eye.
That was something, my dear.
Harlan straightens up, red-faced and panting. It's made of concrete or something, he grumbles.
Solid oak,
Doris says proudly, tapping the armrest of her chair.
Built to last, like all the women in this family.
She leans over to the side table and picks up a small bracelet, something she's been working on for weeks. The bracelet is delicate, yet intricate. Crafted from braided leather and adorned with tiny metal charms, shaped like leaves and feathers. It closely resembles the one Doris wears, and the one Harlan's mother wears too. As if it were a tradition quietly passed down through generations of women in their family.
This,
Doris says, lifting it carefully,
is a bracelet made especially for members of our family. Every knot, every weave, holds something. Strength, courage, stubbornness, and maybe just a little bit of magic that's passed down from mother to daughter.
Harlan squints at it. It's, nice.
Nice?
Doris scoffs.
This helped your great-great-grandmother survive a war and helped my mother fight off a bear single-handedly.
Doris runs a finger across the bracelet.
Now, I was making one for Suma, but I think we might be able to bend the rules slightly, and you can inherit our family's gift from me.
Harlan blinks. Gift?
Yes,
Doris says firmly.
I know you're not technically a girl, going against what your brother suggests, but I think you need it.
But it's... He scratches the back of his neck. Kinda girly. Maybe you should give it to Suma. Doris arches an eyebrow.
This boy that's bullying you,
she says sternly.
Is it getting better or worse?
He hesitates. Worse, Harlan mutters, gently touching his bruised face. Then, with a sigh, he reaches for the bracelet. But how's this supposed to help me? Reluctant, he puts it on. This'll probably just get me beaten up faster. The leather is warm, almost unnaturally so. For a second, nothing happens. Then, a strange tingle rushes through Harlan's arm, crawling up his spine like an electric shiver. He gasps, stumbling back a step. Doris watches calmly, the corners of her mouth twitching upward in a smile.
Granny, seriously, this isn't...
Harlan starts, but his voice catches in his throat. It sounds off. Softer, higher, girlier.
What the hell?
He mutters, frowning. The words are still his, but they don't sound like his. The words coming out of his mouth sound like they were spoken by his sister. Starting to panic, hair falls in front of his eyes. Without thinking, he brushes it away. Then it drops. His hair, once short and messy, is now long. Long enough to fall into his eyes. Long enough to brush against his cheekbones and curl at his collar. He jerks back, heart pounding.
What's going on?
And then he feels it. The sudden, sharp awareness that his shirt doesn't fit right. It hangs differently, looser in some places, tighter in others. His pants feel weird around his hips. His shoes are suddenly too big. He can feel them slipping at his heels. His eyes snap downward, and he freezes. He can no longer see his shoes. Obstructing his view is a fleshy surprise he never signed up for. Definitely not the kind of growth spurt a guy expects.
I never had a daughter,
Doris begins to explain as she looks Harlan up and down.
So I can pass my powers on to you.
Harlan can barely tear his gaze away from the mesmerizing sight below his chin, managing only a fleeting glance in her direction.
Powers?
Yeah, Doris replies casually, as if it's no big deal. She gestures toward Harlan's completely transformed female body.
This, Harlan,
she says with a grin,
is your Feminova form.
Harlan's heart is pounding in his chest as he stumbles toward the sunroom's full-length mirror. He's not sure what's happening, but he needs to see it for himself. Harlan gasps into the reflection, not recognizing who stands before him. It's almost like an older version of his sister gawking back at him. Leaning in, he's shocked. The bruises from the fight are gone, replaced with smooth, flawless skin. His features are soft, delicate even, with high cheekbones and full lips. He blinks a few times as if trying to make sense of it. But the girl in the mirror is undeniably him. The mirror reflects a face that no longer carries the sharp, boyish angles he's used to. Instead, it's like something out of a dream, perfectly feminine. The hair that once barely reached the top of his ears is now long and flowing, cascading down his back in gentle waves. His eyes are wider and longer, framed by lashes that seem impossibly thick. Harlan lifts a hand to touch his cheek, as if he's still trying to figure out if it's real. Then his gaze drops to his body. His chest, her chest, protrudes now, soft and full. It's all so perfectly sculpted. His once flat stomach is now a soft, defined curve, and his hips have widened just enough to give him that unmistakable hourglass shape. Harlan stares, his mouth hanging open. Suddenly, something inside him clicks, and his eyes dart down lower. His hand trembles as he hesitates, knowing exactly what he's about to confirm. His breath catches in his throat, and with a mixture of fear and disbelief, he reaches toward the spot where his manhood used to be. Before he can make contact, Doris's voice rings out across the room.
Harlan!
She chuckles playfully. Harlan freezes, mid-reach, his hand hovering uncertainly. He looks up at his grandmother, who's watching him with a calm expression, though there's a glint of understanding in her eyes.
Come back here,
Doris says gently, her voice more serious than before.
Let me explain.
Harlan slowly pulls his hand back, his face flushed. He doesn't understand what's happening, and he's not sure how to process it all. It's overwhelming. His body is a girl's body now.
Why would you do this to me? How does this help?
Doris watches Harlan trudge over to him. Her calm presence contrasts sharply with the storm of confusion raging inside him.
Sorry, I should have told you beforehand.
Doris chuckles lightly.
I forgot you're a boy.
She looks down at her own bracelet.
When my mother passed on her Feminova power to me, well, it just changed me a little bit. I guess for you it's more extreme. And I apologize.
You can change me back, right?
Doris looks up into the pretty green eyes of her grandson, who is now her granddaughter. He's just as impressive in his Feminova form as she was expecting.
Yes.
She smiles wide, reaching out for his bracelet.
You just press on this charm and relax. Once you do that, you'll revert back to your normal form.
Doris looks again at his pretty face.
In your case, it'll mean you'll change back into a normal boy, and not this stunning young lady.
Brushing hair from his eyes, Harlan lets out a sigh of relief. Life without his tinkle was hard to imagine, but if he can change back, it's not the end of the world.
I just press here, and I'll go back to normal?
Slight issue,
Doris says with a scrunched face.
When you, transform into your Feminova state, you'll have world-beating strength and abilities unique to you, but for a fixed time. I'm sorry, sweetheart. That means you can't switch back until sunrise.
Sunrise?
Harlan gasps and then blows hair from his eyes with an annoyed huff.
Yes.
Doris trails off into a wide grin.
It's time to celebrate your Nova Awakening Day.
Granny!
Harlan stomps his foot, only to have to awkwardly hold his chest.
I don't want a Nova Awakening Day. I want a normal guy day.
Stop whining,
Doris tuts, wagging her finger.
I'm giving you my powers. Be a little more grateful. So you're a girl sometimes. Half the world is female.
She then puts a finger to her lips to stop him whining further.
Now, young lady,
she continues with a smirk on her face.
We're having a Nova Day. No moaning.
But...
Harlan stammers, eyes darting down, to his now loose clothes and the unmistakable absence between his legs.
That means everyone is going to see me looking like this.
Doris leans back in her chair. She murmurs in thought.
Good point.
She tilts her head to one side.
You do look scruffy in those clothes. Your mother might have something you can borrow for now.
Oh, no. Harlan shakes his head, long hair swinging over his shoulders.
I don't want to play dress up. I want to go back to normal, right now.
Doris crosses her arms and gives him a measured look.
Well, you can't. And if you're going to be like that, I won't teach you how to use your awesome new powers.
How is this?
Harlan shows off his body in all its glory.
Going to help me with Ben?
He throws Doris a sharp look.
Wait, you're not suggesting I try and make him fall in love with me, are you?
You are very beautiful in your Nova form,
Doris says with a mischievous smile.
But no, it's nothing as cliché as that.
She gestures back toward the heavy piece of furniture from earlier.
Now, Harlan,
she says, her tone shifting into something more deliberate.
Try again.
Harlan scowls at the dresser.
There's no way I'm lifting out with these curly noodle arms.
He mutters, giving one a dramatic little flex.
I'll probably break a nail just trying.
Doris snorts.
Please. You had noodle arms before the transformation.
Hey.
Harlan shoots a look at her.
Less cheek now, young lady. Now lift.
Still grumbling, Harlan walks over to the dresser. He crouches down, slips his fingers under the base, and braces himself. With a skeptical grunt, he pulls and the dresser rises off the ground, like it weighs nothing.
What the?
He lifts it well over his head.
I'm actually doing it.
He breathes, grinning.
I'm strong?
You're more than lifting it,
Doris says, leaning back in her chair with a satisfied smile.
That's but a taste of the power I'm letting you inherit from me.
Doris gives a cheeky wink.
Kinda cool being a girl, huh?
Harlan laughs genuinely.
Holy crap, yeah. This is kinda awesome.
Harlan lowers the dresser to the floor and then looks at his perfectly manicured hands. He can feel it now. Energy pulsing through his limbs, every muscle sharp and responsive. His skin tingles with it. It's not just physical strength. It's a deep connection with his ancestors, surging like a current beneath his skin.
Ben's not gonna stand a chance if I'm this strong,
Harlan says dramatically.
I'm gonna knock his block off. I'm gonna punch him into next week. I'm...
At that moment, the door swings wide open.
You two.
Evelyn, Harlan's mother's voice fills the room.
It's time for dinner.
Harlan freezes still as their eyes meet. At first, Evelyn looks at him like an unwanted stranger. Then, as she looks at the bracelet on his arm, she turns to look at her mother-in-law, Doris. Quickly, her face turns sour.
Mother,
She scolds, bounding over to her in the chair.
I thought you said you weren't going to pass on your Nova form to either of the boys. You said it wouldn't be fair.
Oh, Evie,
Doris waves off her protests.
stop being such a sourpuss, dear. Your son needs a little helping hand with a bully, so I've let him take it.
Slowly, Evelyn turns to face Harlan, her eyes widening as they take him in. She scans him from head to toe, stunned into silence by the sight of her son, now a striking young woman, standing awkwardly with flushed cheeks and uncertain eyes.
Hi,
Harlan says with a little wave.
hi.
Evelyn replies awkwardly before turning back to her mother-in-law.
How am I going to explain this to Suma? She's not ready to inherit my power, and she's going to whine so much that my son is a Feminova before her.
I'll talk to her.
Doris replies, patting Evelyn on the head like she's a child.
Now we need to celebrate this unplanned awakening day.
Letting out a long breath, Evelyn stands up straight and walks over to her son, now a daughter. She takes hold of his shoulders and looks him deep in the eyes.
You look very impressive in this form, Harley. Have you been told how to switch back?
Harlan nods, having to look up at his mother for the first time in years.
Good.
Evelyn says with a soft smile.
Now, with great power comes great responsibility.
Harlan furrows his brow. Is she quoting Spider-Man at him? Is she expecting him to fight crime?
Mom,
Harlan asks softly, without a hint of sarcasm.
am I a superhero now?
Evelyn looks down at his body.
No.
She laughs.
You're just
She pauses to step away from her son to take in his curves.
very attractive. That comes with a responsibility that you won't understand as a cis boy.
Before Harlan can even comment, Evelyn has her hands on his chest, holding up his mounds. She giggles to herself as she looks down at his chest,
A responsibility to keep these supported, for example.
staring at them in awe as they rest in her hands. She looks back at Doris.
Let's hope we have a bra that fits these beauties.
Doris can't help but burst out into laughter.
My old mother once told me that the size of a Feminova's chest tells you how powerful they are.
She taps her leg in an amusement, and then she grins in Harlan's direction.
Our little Harley is going to be super strong. That bully won't know what hit him.
Bully?
Evelyn lets Harlan's chest fall naturally, making him uncomfortable with the unwanted jiggling.
Did that boy beat you up again?
Harlan nods.
Oh, sweetheart.
Evelyn tilts her head to one side.
Well, we can talk about that after we found you something more suitable to wear.
She looks at her new daughter up and down.
Things are going to change for you now, Harley. But don't worry. It's all good things.
Thank you so very much for watching and making it all the way to the very end. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where members get early access to all our content.